I'm only taking you back to this moment because you describe it also in your book. So it's election night. Well, I have to say this first. You bought a house next to your own house because you expected the security to be able to be there when you're president. You didn't write a concession speech because that's for bad luck and you didn't think you were going to need it.
Right.
And then it's election night and it's 1:35 in the morning and AP calls Pennsylvania for Trump. You're in your hotel room. And what is happening in your mind at that moment?
Total shock. I don't even pretend to have understood what was happening. I could not believe it. And it was contrary to everything we thought was going to happen. And there was something that just didn't add up to me, but I couldn't figure out what was going on. But, you know, the election was being, as we say, called for him. But I figured, look, if it had happened, which apparently it had, then I needed to concede, which meant a call to Trump, which I made. I mean, I think probably the person more surprised than me was him, because he had no reason to believe he was going to win. And everything that's been written since shows that they didn't think they were going to win. They were looking at the same data I was looking at. So how did this happen? And how did nobody see it? And why did we think, you know, just 24 hours before we were on our way to winning? What happened? And that's why I wrote the book.
Yeah.
But I was more in a state of shock. I wasn't hysterical. I wasn't sobbing. I was just frozen. I couldn't come to grips with it. And yet I knew I had to get up in the morning and I had to, you know, go do that concession speech. And I wanted to be gracious because I kept hoping for the best. And so I tried to sound that note. It was incredibly painful.
62 million Americans voted for Trump. What does that say about America?
I think it says a couple of things. If you watched the campaign from the beginning, namely the primaries, and you watched him in the Republican primaries insult his way to the nomination, taking on senators, former governors, distinguished Republican candidates, it was absolutely great TV. People couldn't turn away from it. And the media in our country didn't know how to treat it, so they just gave it as much time as it possibly could fill because it was so entertaining. You didn't know what he would say. You didn't know how the people he was insulting would react. It was reality TV brought to the presidential campaign. A lot of people, I think, were lulled into thinking that it was performance art and that if he were president, he would be a Republican, which they wanted. Our country's pretty evenly divided. Yeah. And he wouldn't do anything so crazy because then he'd be president.
Did you think for a second that he would start behaving once he became president?
I hoped he would. I mean, I tried to warn people about everything I could that he should not be anywhere near the Oval Office. But I hoped that there would be some reckoning with the power and the honor of the office.
Has there been any?
No. He has undermined the office and used it to enrich himself and his family, disregarded laws, ethical standards, has been undermining the institutions from the free press to the judiciary. So no, I mean, he's crossed into a territory of behavior and actions that are unpredictable, that are erratic, like his deciding to launch a trade war, that are undermining the stability of the global order.
What do you do with the rage?
You know, I'm channeling it. I'm channeling my my anger, my disappointment into helping young organizations, a lot of grassroots energy that's out there. I've got a new umbrella group that is funding them and supporting them to recruit candidates and run people and win elections. Because, you know, we can all complain and we can all worry about the direction our country's going, or we can get out there and do the hard work and try to win back the Congress and in 2020 the White House. That's what I'm doing.
There are now summer camps in America where they teach 8-year-old girls, start training them to become president. And never before have this many women in America said they want to run for office at any level.
Right. I'm thrilled by it.
Yeah.
I'm thrilled by it. And I feel very gratified because so many of them say, your campaign did this, your losing did this. I want to, carry on what you were trying to do. I'm very, very excited. And I've got a new organization that is helping to support women deciding to run for office.
Is this the silver lining for this horrific?
It's a silver lining if we can get more women into politics, more young people into politics. What these young students are doing out of the tragedy of the massacre at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School, just ignite this new generation of activism that wants to bring people together, not divide and separate us, and wants people to come up with real solutions, not platitudes and rhetoric. And so if this can unleash that, then I will feel really, really good about that.
But listening to you now, it sounds like you're optimistic about the future, but I can't share that yet.
Well, I'm optimistic because I hope that what is happening is real. So that this energy that I'm seeing and supporting doesn't get tired and give up, but maintains itself. And that we get some solutions and cut through all of the political barriers. 86% of the people in America want us to do something about guns. I mean, those are Republicans as well as Democrats. And yet we're stopped because the NRA is so powerful that it intimidates Republicans and basically forbids them to do what the people want. So that's one way to cross the line. You would think we're very divided on guns because the only voices you hear are the pro-gun voices, right?
86%.
But we're not.
Yeah.
And so I really believe that if we stay focused on igniting this energy, nurturing it, and finding real solutions, there's room for optimism.